Good morning. Glad to have you with us. We are looking forward to a good semester. I just want to go over a few basics with you. Currently, on the screen, you should see the homepage there for our Wintermester course. Gives you some basic information. I've listed office hours as being 12 to 1, but those are going to be virtual hours. I'll just be checking in periodically throughout the days to see if anybody sent me a message or note. I do still have my office phone number listed here. This is at the Gibbs building, the academic building on campus in Athens. I will rarely be there. As I mentioned in one of the notes, I'm rarely going to be on campus over the next 3 weeks. I will occasionally probably show up, but for the most part, I will not be on campus. We're shutting down the campus essentially, it says the 18th. But really, most people are going to be leaving by this afternoon and won't be back. So we're really not going to be in there. In fact, right now I'm currently recording from my home. So as you go through the details here, you'll see the different ones, the different units that are here for you. You can click here to go to each one. Or you can also go over here to the side and look at these and click on the word modules and go there. Announcements, as I will post them, should pop up for you. It should be indicated for you at different places. Has attendance listed, but I will not be checking attendance during the Wintermester. We're not going to be doing that. But also over here, you should see the coming up, and it will indicate what assignments are due, what should be showing up soon for you. So you have all that laid out for you. When you click on the modules, either from down here or over here, and I clicked on it this way, and there it comes. I'm going to move that over. You'll see, well, should go up here, the Start Here module. And this is where you want to begin. If you'll click on the arrow, it'll open up everything underneath it. Here's the welcome to English 1302. Ignore the -3, that's just a level indication. And it just essentially tells you a few details here. There's the little note, I will rarely be in the office during the Wintermester. Little aspects about what the class involves and how you need to go about getting familiar with Canvas, what you need to do. And so you can read through that. Let me again move that over here. And when you click Next, it'll take you to the second part here about accessing your Canvas course, which is always a little problematic for me, as I have mentioned to our people before. If you're reading this, you're already in Canvas, so you probably already know how to navigate through and access the Canvas course. So if you're here reading this, congratulations, you've accessed your Canvas course. The next part just goes in a little bit about orientation, some basic information from our distance learning division that explains to you what you need to do, how you want to go back through it. And so there are some different aspects to it that you can set, such as you can receive notices on your phone, you can receive notices in a number of different areas through Twitter, etc., and in your email. So different ways that you can do that, and some other details that you might want to look at in case you have not used Canvas before. This is a copy of the syllabus. It is the basic standard syllabus that we offer, and it again is not anything unusual. This is a formatted syllabus that we are given to fill in with some details. And you'll see I have that. Here I have office hours as 10 to 11. I put 12 to 1 on the other one. I am generally up and checking the computer at different times. So 10 to 11, technically when you can send me emails. And then at 12 to 1, I'll be trying to make sure I've answered all those. You can see my email. Again, my phone number for the office is listed here, but I will rarely be in that office number. This is my cell phone, but please only use that in case it's an emergency. This tells you what 1302, English 1302 involves, what it is supposed to be, a study of and practicing the strategies for developing research-based writing. That's expository and persuasive text. Be writing. There are a number of different aspects you're going to be looking at. We will be writing. This is another course that involves that. As it says here, we'll be looking at short stories, plays, poetry. We're really not going to look at films. I'm not going to have you look at any of the film versions, although I will have a few available for you to look at just to see some aspects there. If you need the textbook, you can visit our textbook. You can visit the bookstore here. Just click on this link. It'll take you and it'll show you which book you need. We are going to be using the Norton Introduction to Literature. The current version is the 13th edition, but if you have a 12th edition or even an 11th edition, you should be fine. The 13th edition is actually called the 13th Shorter Edition, but it really is their full version of the Introduction to Literature, and it's just called shorter because they put it in paperback and did not have a hardback version. If you have any of the previous versions, such as the 12th or the 11th, you should be all right. I think most of the works that I've listed or chosen for this semester are in there in any of the previous two editions. Again, this just goes into what you're expected to learn, what you're expected to be able to demonstrate that you've learned, the requirements that we're doing. You have two essays, one over poetry, one over short stories, one over drama. You have a research paper that is over poetry. You have several daily grades, and then you have a final exam that you'll actually be taking on the 7th and turning in your research paper on the 8th. You can see the standards that are used, what qualifies for an A, a B, a C, on through. Again, how much time you're expected to spend? Well, I have 5 or 6 hours. You might have to spend a little bit more than that, really outside of class, depending on how quickly you read. This is the breakdown for the course. It is divided into units of 5 days. So Unit 1, which we are now starting, covers the details that are listed here. I will be talking about the research project later this week. I'll do another video and talk about it. Unit 2, and unfortunately Unit 2 is going to be covering through Christmas. We only have 20 days or so for this course, approximately 25. But when you take out Christmas Eve, Christmas, New Year's Eve, and New Year's Day, we're rather limited. So I've included those in the listing of the 5 days. That gave us 5 units of 5 days each. But I realize that some of you, on a couple of days, you probably will not be spending much time, so you're going to have to really work within the days that you do have. And you'll see that this explains you have readings to do. You have several plays to be reading and looking at. We have other details. The poetry is listed here that we're looking at. The page numbers are for the 13th Shorter Edition. If you have another edition, you'll just have to look in the back of the book and find the listing of the titles of the works, and you'll then find the page numbers. Classroom policies are really for face-to-face, so we don't have to worry about those. Late policy, I want to make sure you understand this, that there should be no late work, and late assignments will not be accepted for credit. You need to make sure you turn the work in when the work is due. So begin as early as possible. I went ahead and opened up the class last week, in fact, and a few of you have already started on the work, which is fine. The only acceptable excuse is a Canvas server error, and if you've worked with Canvas, you know unfortunately that does happen. In fact, this fall semester, between Canvas and Turnitin, there were a couple of glitches at different times. To give you an idea, one of my online classes disappeared for a few days, and it took a while before I could get it to start working. Another occasion, there was an issue with Turnitin where the grades were recorded in Turnitin, but they were not coming across to Canvas. And I literally had to send a note to Turnitin asking what was the problem. And they just got back with me today. I sent that notice to them before Thanksgiving, and I received a message today explaining that they had had it fixed, which of course I already learned. So again, there are really no excuses for not doing your work. Please make sure you stay up with all the work. The assignments are open. You have a range of days to do so, and please make sure you get that taken care of. And again, I don't think we really need to go over any of these aspects about scholastic dishonesty. I think you understand those. Likewise, the drop policy, it's up to you to do that. I am not able to drop any student from a course anymore. I can notify the registrar that someone has not been attending, and then our registrar will contact you, the student. So please make sure that you are regularly logging into Canvas. I will be checking that. It says the equivalence of 2 weeks. Well, our course is only 3.5 weeks. So if you miss 2 weeks, you've missed more than half the course. So please make sure you're logging in regularly, that you're staying up with all the work. My suggestion is that you log in every day. Any additional information that you need to know, I'm just going through this very quickly so you can read it on your own. Again, logging on to eCourses. If you have issues with that, you can contact our distance learning people. And then they do like you to fill out the student evaluation. And that's the complete syllabus. I know that some of you will not want to worry about looking at the entire syllabus, and so as such I have the course outline set up separately, and you'll see again the dates, the details that are actually drawn from the syllabus, and you can see the dates and the details that are listed there for this course schedule. And you'll see we get through on January 8th. That's when your research paper is due. We do have a test over literary terms, and that's why it's called the final. That's on the 7th, but I'm really looking at your research paper as the final work for the course, and that comes in on the 8th. And it has to come in on the 8th because that'll give me a day or so to get everything graded, and I have to get grades reported before we start the next semester. Likewise, after that, we have course information. Again, details for you to contact me. If you'll notice, I have office hours is 10 to 12 here. Again, that's when the emails can come in, and I'll start looking at those starting about 12 o'clock and trying to respond to them during that time. Other details are listed here. They're sort of repetitive, but we are asked to include all that. More information about 1302. This is all in the syllabus. Again, we're asked to repeat this information. Assignments, instructions, where to find them, we're going to go over in just a moment. And how to submit them, we're going to go over that also. There is a tutorial on how to submit assignments. There's the grading information again. And then this is a video that if you will click on this gray bar, it will open a video on how to submit your assignments using Turnitin. So again, it's not a video I did, it's done by someone else, but we'll start it here for a moment.
Hey, this is Jason Johnson, instructional designer here at the University of Kentucky College.
And so this is from University of Kentucky, and it literally walks you through in about 6 minutes how to submit an assignment at Canvas through Turnitin. And so we're going to, so you can watch that video in case you're not sure how to do so. I'm going to go back to the modules now. And you'll see that this one is right here. And then getting feedback on the essays. Once you turn in an assignment, whether it's an essay or a daily assignment, and you turn it to the Turnitin portal, I will go through, I will mark them, I will type in a brief comment, and this explains how you can find your comments, the comments I have placed on your work. So just follow these. Here's grades. You'll click on it. Your assignment will come up. Click on the name of the assignment, whatever it may be. In this case, the first assignment is first daily assignment. And you click on it. The screen will pop up, and there's going to be a percentage, which is generally the similarity report, and you'll click on that, and the screen will pop up. If you have a message that says you cannot view, click on the OK about the originality report. That's all right. Just click OK. And then the document is going to appear. Your actual assignment will show up. And whenever you see a little blue speech bubble, you can click on it, and you'll start seeing the comments. You can start looking at those on any blue bubble. And then there are also some boxes that you can click on to see the rubric. So just follow those. If you hover over the speech bubbles, you'll see the comments I've placed. You'll see the scoring rubric and the details there. And then you have technical support if you have any issues there, ways that you can contact people and can contact me. And then that takes us back to the module, and you have your Start Here quiz that you need to do. It's a very basic little quiz. You can take as many times as you want to. It does not count in your grade. It is simply getting you used to Turnitin, getting you used to Canvas, and just sort of allowing you some exposure to that. So hopefully the Start Here module is something you'll be able to go through quickly. I do have for you here a module talking about writing process. This is a fairly lengthy PowerPoint talking about writing in general and what is involved with good writing. This one explains about the literary analysis essay. If you click on it, the handout does pop up. Give it a moment. And it's how to write a literary analysis. You can get it larger, or you can also print it out if you want to. This simply goes through explaining what it takes to write a good essay, what is expected of you, how to set up your essay. And I like this handout because it gives you literally some examples of introductions. This one over My Last Dutch is a poem. This one over a short story. This one over another short story, which the poem here and the short story here are two of the assignments that you will be asked to look at. So you can see how an introduction can be set up. Goes on, talks about how to set up body paragraphs, how to develop that using distinct quotes and details from the story, for instance, in this case A&P, on how to build your paragraphs, how to work on a conclusion. And please note that in this conclusion, there's no such phrasing as in conclusion or as a final point. When we are reading an essay, we do not need such expressions such as in conclusion. Those are totally unnecessary. In a speech, you need such cues so that your audience will know that you're getting ready to complete your speech. With an essay, those kind of statements are unnecessary. Just as in an introduction, and we'll go back up to the introduction here, you will please note that nowhere in these example introductions do you see the expression, in this essay I will be discussing, or this essay will discuss. Those are for technical reports, not for essays. Formal essays will not require you to put anything in the introduction announcing your intent, besides putting in your thesis, such as here. Through what he says about himself, through his actions, and through his interpretation of our literary incidents, the Duke reveals the arrogance, jealousy, and materialism that are his most conspicuous traits. That sentence tells us how you're going to analyze the poem. That is the thesis sentence. And in a formal essay, you need to develop a thesis, a statement, a sentence that will address how you will be analyzing whatever work you're looking at. You do not need to put in, this essay will cover, or in this essay I will be discussing. Those kind of expressions are restricted to technical or research or scientific style research projects. They are not for formal essays. Do not use them. Hopefully that came across to you. Just as with your conclusion, do not put in conclusion. That's unnecessary as well. So this handout goes on, talks about how to put a title, what your title needs to be. As it says here, using only the title of the literary work is not appropriate. Do not entitle your essay The Story of an Hour. No, Kate Chopin wrote that story. You did not. You want to use a title that indicates your approach, what you plan to do with the essay. Again, using textual evidence, drawing specific quotes and details, whether you summarize it or quote it specifically, all needs to be put into your essay as you're working with the short story, the poem, the drama, whichever one you're looking at. And it goes on, talks about summarizing, paraphrasing, and then also using specific details and using direct quotations, making sure that you cite those. Again, I'm not going to read this to you. You can review all this for your own. It goes on to talk about punctuating direct quotations, how to do that. And then it talks about 3 conventions to remember. Give a clear, full reference to the work and author you're writing somewhere in your introduction. So again, the example essay up here at the top. You will see that Robert Browning portrays in his poem My Last Duchess. It's full reference to the author and to the title. Here it says Alberto Alvaro Rios, The Secret Lion, John Updike's A&P. So you have the full author name, the full title. And so you want to make sure that you do that. Another aspect that you want to make sure that you do, and I'm going to go back down here, I think it mentions it here, that when you're working on your essay and you're giving details, what you want to make sure that you do is that after you give that initial reference, and we're going to go down here. Bear with me as we get down here. After you've given that clear full reference, any further time that you refer to the author, use last name. So, John Updike, in his story A and P. There's your first reference. Then after that, you will say Updike presents or Updike offers. And you will always use present tense, not past tense, except for the quoted material, because your analysis is occurring now, so you use present tense. You do not refer to Updike as John. Never refer to an author by only the first name, unless that's all we know, such as Homer. That's all the name we have for Homer, who wrote the Iliad. So we call him Homer. Otherwise, use last name. Never refers to, for instance, in poetry, do not call Emily Dickinson Emily, unless you can prove to me that you and Emily Dickinson are best friends, which means I need a recent photograph of the two of you together, and I need something where she has signed it, which may be a little difficult since she died in 1886. So, first reference to an author is the full name. Subsequent references, last name only. So please make sure you do so. As it says here, use the present tense when you're discussing and writing about literature. You can look at the example paragraphs that are above, both the introduction, the body paragraph, and the conclusion. You'll see how that's used. And then what I like about this handout, it gives you a checklist. Points that you need to make sure that you have fulfilled whenever you are writing. And this is from Bucks County Community College. I had permission to use it several years ago, and they told me, fine, just don't change anything. Make sure that you always give us credit. So I do. And you're going to follow MLA documentation style, which means all your work that you submit should be double-spaced. References to the works, when you give specific details, need to be cited. And you need to make sure that, for instance, on your essays, you do have a work cited page. So let's go back to the module. And you'll see other details. I have a PowerPoint, again, taken from another school that allowed me to do that. Thesis statement is explained. We'll click on it. And it just explains a little bit what a thesis statement should be, needs to be, and how it should be set up and what it needs to include. Again, something you can look at. And again, Brian Yothers allowed this to be used. So it goes in and offers some comments and details about how to incorporate information and what to do. So again, you can read through that. I'm not going to bore you with just going through that. Critical analysis, what that actually involves, is offered here. And again, it's supposed to call up. And again, let's zoom this up a little bit more. So again, what writing critically really involves, how you're supposed to go about doing it. It sort of hits some of the same points previously the other handout does, but offers some details for you to look at, and how to go about working with this. Again, just to give you some very specific recommendations, and how MLA format is used. It says use Times New Roman. You can also use Arial and Courier. If you use Courier, go to 10 font, 10 point. If you use Calibri, for instance, you can also use Calibri. It'll default to 11 font because 10 to 12 font is considered acceptable. Times New Roman is always 12. Courier is always 10. Arial can be any of those between. And that's why Calibri, when Microsoft commissioned a new font to be developed for their updated Word program many years ago, it was called Calibri, and it's set at 11 because that's between the 10 and 12. Again, details about how you should set up your paper, what you need to go through. Again, tips, what you need to offer, how you can go about doing that. And again, this is recommendations. One of the key points I like about this one, don't say I in the essay. Say the reader, the audience, instead of you. You do not use first person. Do not put I believe, I think, I find, I understand. And do not say you will see, you will understand in your essay. Those are not to be used in a formal essay. We know you're writing the essay, at least you're supposed to be, so you don't have to put what you believe or what you think or what you find in the story. Just state the point directly. If you want to say that I believe the Duke is a rotten person, then state that. The Duke in My Last Duchess is a rotten person. That's all we need. Then you have to go about proving it using examples and details from the poem. Do not say, you will understand this, or you will see, or you can recognize. No, I'm not going to. State the point directly, or say the reader can recognize. Do not address you. You're not in a conversation when you're writing an essay. You are analyzing a work, and you are presenting it in an objective, logical consideration. Do not use you. Do not use I. Just key points for you. And again, that's one of the reasons I have that handout also included. This is a video that goes over how to properly use MLA citation format, parenthetical citations throughout your essay. And then I have an example essay for you so that you can look at this. This was done by a student a few years ago. A couple of years ago, actually. Yeah. And you can see how this essay was set up. It's not a perfect essay. I'm going to be reviewing this a little bit later, but you can see how it's set up, the sense of paragraphing, the sense of citations, and then the works cited page that was used. And so it gives you an example that you can see that's how your work should look. When you get ready to submit your essay, your paper should look a little bit like that. So there's the works cited. And the example essays details how to develop an essay, all included in this module. This module, the short story unit, works you through some of the different assignments and also takes you through the readings. This is a critical discussion of Story of an Hour that if you click here, it takes you to a YouTube video, which is a very brief analysis of it. The next one, in case you don't have a copy of the story yet, if you don't have your book, I have access to a version of the story. It's very short. That's it. That's the whole story. It's about 900 to 1,000 words, if I remember correctly. So you can read it there online. Many of the early works, in fact, that you're asked to look at are online. So you can always go and just, as they say, you can Google the title and find copies of it online to read. This is a lecture that I did over a Story of an Hour, a discussion of this work from a few years ago. I went ahead and recorded it, so you can look at that one. It is a recording that is approximately an hour, 55 minutes. So again, you can look at it. This was recorded when I was teaching a class in 1302, and so you can look at that one. And then you have your first assignment, if I remember correctly. And what this does, you click on it. You can actually go to the module. I'm going to go back to it and show you how you can just access it. Just click here. And the assignment loads. You can download this by clicking here. Type in your results, your answers to this. The last 5 paragraphs over Story of an Hour. Start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When she responds to Josephine. So those are the last 5 paragraphs. So anything you find between go away to joy that kills, you can use to respond to this question. About examples of irony. If you need to understand irony, it's explained in the book. Go to the back of the textbook. We have a glossary of terms starting on A1, and you'll see it's arranged alphabetically. Just go to the term irony and see it. You can also look in our textbook where it talks about irony about this work particularly. And then you're to offer an examples, at least 2, and you have to explain what type of irony it is. So if you believe it's verbal irony, explain why your example is verbal irony. It doesn't take much to do so. If you believe it's situational irony, why is it situational? What is it about this example that marks it as an example of situational irony? Or is it dramatic irony, as you believe? Well, what about this example shows that it meets the definition of dramatic irony? So please make sure you do that. The second question about Richards, you'll also hear the name expressed as Richard because the story is probably set in Creole, New Orleans, and so you'd have the French pronunciation, just as Mallard can also be pronounced Mallard. And so why is it appropriate that he tries to screen? Well, keep in mind what he does earlier in the story, and because he only appears early in the story and then he appears at that part of the story. So again, keep those two aspects in mind and how those fit. And then this one asks you a very opinionated question. Do you believe the marriage is a loveless one? How would you describe it, given the details in the story? So you're going to state the marriage is a loveless one, or the marriage is not a loveless one, and then you're going to support it with examples, explain how your examples confirm the loveless state or the state of love within the marriage. So you use specific details there. Now, once you have written your answers and you've saved them to your computer, you go to this assignment, and down here you will see a bar. You click on it, and when you click on it, it will open the assignment, and you'll see a submit button. Mine's going to show me who's turned in things already, and so I'm going to click that off very quickly because those are already graded. And so you will see that gray bar below the assignment. Scroll down, find it, click on it. It'll take you to turn it in, and you will then see a submit button. You click on it, it'll ask you to browse your computer. Go to your computer, find your file, double click it, or click and then hit the word open, and you'll upload it to turn it in, and then you'll hit submit again, and your work goes in to turn it in. This is how you'll submit all your assignments, including your essays. So go back to the module. There's the first assignment. I have you a list of terms. This is what will be responsible for your final exam, the exam auxiliary terms. This is where those terms will be drawn from. I have a PowerPoint over the birthmark. One of the stories you're asked to read, there's an analysis of Hills Like White Elephants. This is another video. This is also one. And then your second daily assignment. Again, click on it. It calls up. There's the assignment here. Download it, type in your responses, and then once you save it, click on this. It'll take you to turn it in. You'll see that the URL has changed to turnitin.com, and then it will call up for you. Mine will say there's nothing here. You'll have a submit button, and then you click on it, and you'll be able to then follow the instructions to submit that assignment. So that's how you need to make sure that you're following through. Again, going through the modules, short stories, again, details over different ones. Same with the drama unit. There are daily assignments to do, some videos to watch, notes over some different works. And then with the poetry unit, similarly, some PowerPoints and videos and articles to look at. Some daily assignments. There are 2 daily assignments over poetry. And then, of course, you have the lyric terms test that you'll click on and take it. It'll be taken online. And then you have your research paper that, again, you click on it. The topic is here. It will appear here as well, and then when you have it finished, you will click here and upload it and turn it in. So I'll be going over some of these other assignments later, but I just want to make sure that we have all this taken care of. If you do have any questions, please email me, let me know. I am looking forward to a good semester, and we're going to hope that everything works well, that we get through these next 20 plus days, and it's a very fast time. And again, I'm looking forward to working with you this semester.